Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. So, Xbox Game Pass is starting the month of March off with a bang. They just announced 7 more games for the first half of March, which includes a big AAA title, as well as a really interesting day one release. And yeah, if you're an Xbox Game Pass subscriber, you're probably going to be pretty happy with this lineup starting off the month of March, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit. Now, also, just the game industry as of this moment, it really seems to be growing, especially with the introduction of the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series. Game subscriptions are also helping quite a bit, and then, of course, the Nintendo Switch is just continuing its success. So everything is looking really good right now for the game industry, and in fact, they just broke a record, so we'll talk about that one as well. First, though, let's start off with some of the quick news, such as a new game that was announced being Meifumado. Now, there is a strong possibility that I might be pronouncing this wrong, so I do apologize if that is the case. But this is a Kickstarter being described as a side-scrolling action RPG being developed for the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, the Nintendo Switch, and also the PC. So you're going to be able to pretty much play this on every platform, but as I just noted, this is a Kickstarter campaign currently. I typically don't talk about these too often on the channel, but I thought this game looked pretty good. I thought maybe some of you all might be interested in this one as well. It actually kind of reminds me a little bit of Blasphemous in terms of how it looks, but it does have that beautiful pixel art to it with fluid animations. They also talk about how it's going to have plenty of exploration. There's going to be a heavy focus on RPG elements. There's also going to be crafting, and it seems like they're putting a lot into this game, so if any of this does interest you, I will leave a link in the description below to that Kickstarter. They are looking for $40,000 worth of funding, so we'll see how all that turns out. Next up, we are going to talk about Elden Ring once again. I know we've been talking about this game a lot over the last week, but really anytime FromSoftware releases one of their games, there's always this controversy or discussion that comes from within the community about whether or not their games should offer options. The thing about their games is that they are known to be a little challenging, and this more or less has turned into a bit of a polarizing topic online, where one part of the community wants an easy mode in these games, whereas the other part believes that everybody should be playing on the same playing field because that's the point of the Soulsborne genre. So yeah, this debate pops up online about every time they release a new game, and it does look like this is going to continue into the future as well, because FromSoftware actually responded to this very specific topic. In an interview, FromSoftware's game designer Miyazaki did say this: "We're always looking to improve, but in our game specifically, hardship is what gives meaning to the experience. So it's not something we're willing to abandon at the moment. It's our identity. I do feel apologetic toward players who feels there's just too much to overcome in my games. I just want as many players as possible to experience the joy that comes from overcoming hardship." And that last remark right there, I do find to be very interesting, because he is making it clear that that's what he wants fans to experience. He wants them to experience that joy from overcoming hardship. That's his vision for his games, and so far he's been having a lot of success in doing just that. Their games have been very successful with this formula, whether that be with Demon's Souls, Dark Souls, Sekiro, or here with Elden Ring, which, as we talked about yesterday, it's actually FromSoftware's fastest selling entry, or at least over in the UK, which means they're not slowing down, but rather they're growing with this genre of games here. So there's really not much of an incentive on them changing this formula. Of course, though, I don't expect this debate to go away anytime soon, and more or less we're going to be talking about this 4 or 5 years from now. So let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. What side of the debate do you fall on when it comes to FromSoftware games? Now, we do also have a leak to talk about today, though this one isn't anything too major just because the type of game it is, but Gran Turismo 7 has leaked out just a little bit early. It does appear that Amazon accidentally sent out Gran Turismo 7 to some fans ahead of that official release, though unlike other games that leaks out a little bit early, this one doesn't seem to be a major issue for a few different reasons. One being that I think a lot of fans that don't have this game, they're not exactly worried about spoilers when it comes to Gran Turismo 7. It's not exactly like this is a story-filled game or anything like that. And in fact, I imagine some people will just want to go out online and check out all of the cars that are available in Gran Turismo 7. So you don't really have to worry on that side of things, but one thing that this leak did reveal is the always online requirement for Gran Turismo 7. See, what's happening is that even though some fans have gotten Gran Turismo 7 a little bit early, they're not exactly able to play much of Gran Turismo 7, at least as of this moment. Because large portions of Gran Turismo 7 does require an online connection, Polyphony Digital first has to actually turn on the servers. So even though this game has been leaking out a little bit early, again, fans aren't exactly able to play much when it comes to this game. It does seem like early impressions are quite strong, though. There's a lot of talk about just how beautiful this game looks. And I mean, this is the first big racing simulator to release this generation. So really, there's only a couple more days to wait for this one, and hopefully it's as good as it looks. Now, I will say that if you did get this game a little bit early, don't go posting a bunch of pictures or videos about it online, because they are copyrighting this stuff, so make sure to not do that. Let's go and take a look at Xbox Game Pass, though, because they just revealed 7 more games for the first half of March. And that is something that I always like to point out. But yes, this is just the first half of March, which means there's still more games to come. But they are getting this month started off with an absolute bang. Very exciting lineup here, and let's just go and check it out. So for the first half of March, you have Flight Simulator heading over to the cloud. Then for console and PC players, you have Far Changing Tides, Kentucky Route Zero TV Edition, Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy, which that one right there is the big one. Then you also have Young Souls, Final Fantasy 13 Lightning Returns, and then last but not least, you have Lawn Mowing Simulator for the Xbox One. So that is actually a really good lineup right there, especially with Guardians of the Galaxy. This is a AAA game that released not all that long ago. It did release late last year, and it was well received. It is one of the better story-driven games on the market right now. In fact, it did win the best narrative over at the Game Awards. So that goes to show you how well received this game actually has been. But unfortunately, it's also been a little overlooked at the same time. Here recently, Square Enix did reveal that it had sold below expectations, and this is where Xbox Game Pass can come in and inject new life into Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. It's clear that this is a good game, but unfortunately, it just never really got the recognition that it truly deserves, and that can all change here with Xbox Game Pass. Suddenly, with this game coming over to Game Pass starting March 10th, a lot of people are going to have access to this game, and I imagine that it's going to get a lot more exposure, so I really feel like this is the perfect match here, and it's going to benefit everybody. Game Pass subscribers will get a high-quality experience here, and Square Enix will have that opportunity of giving this game a second life with more exposure. Definitely, if you haven't already checked this game out, and if you like single-player games, you might want to check out Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy when it launches into Game Pass starting March 10th. Now, that's not the only interesting game here, though, because Far Changing Tides is also launching directly into Xbox Game Pass, and, well, actually, about that, it's launching into Xbox Game Pass today. Yeah, you're not going to have to wait for this one, and this one is actually a follow-up to Far Lone Cells. This is the sequel, and it's basically this puzzle platformer set in a very atmospheric world where you're traveling on a vehicle. It is quite the experience. Definitely a recommend on my part, and I mean, if you like the first game, the second game here is a no-brainer, and it does seem like this one is being a little bit more ambitious, actually. I'm quite interested in checking this one out myself, and again, you know, you can play this right now if you want to. Another game here, though, to keep an eye on would be Kentucky Route Zero. This is another very well-received game with the complete edition scoring an 88 overall score on Metacritic. This was a long-running game as it was split up into 5 different parts, but it's always been well-received, and it's often listed as one of the better point-and-click adventure style of games, so if that is something you're interested in, then Kentucky Route Zero does come March 10th. And of course, we also can't forget Final Fantasy 13 Lightning Returns. If you do like the Final Fantasy 13 series, you do have that as well. Overall, though, this is a really strong start for the month of March, and you Game Pass subscribers out there, you will just continue to feast. The only problem, though, is that it's kind of hard to keep up with Game Pass with all of these great games on a monthly basis. On to our final topic, though. It is being reported by Ampere Analysis that the console market has broken a new record, with consumers spending more on game consoles hardware, games, and game services in 2021 than ever before. It is being said that in 2021, consumers spent $60 billion on the console market. That is absolutely fantastic, and what's kind of scary about that is that they pointed out that this number could have actually been higher. Unfortunately, consoles such as the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series are still being held back because they are short on supply. Right now, they just cannot produce enough units to reach that demand, so this could have been even higher if they were able to do that. But this really is a great sign for the future of gaming, and it just kind of shows you how far the game industry has come. I mean, here we're we're talking about them breaking a new record, and here Ampere Analysis believes that there's a possibility that they could break that record again this year in 2022. So that is saying a lot. Now, they do attribute this growth to a couple of different things, which is really interesting. They do say that the increase in spending was driven by higher priced new consoles available in the market and increased adoption of subscription services such as Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass. Now, we'll take a look at the subscriptions here in just a moment, but first, let's take a look at the market share. They did show here that Sony has marginally improved since 2020 and has 46% of the market share as of this moment. Then Nintendo, they actually decreased by 2%, but still has 29% of the market. And then Microsoft, they gained by 1% over the last year and are now at 25%. So it does seem like all three are in a very healthy situation, and that's exactly what you want to see as a fan of gaming. I do have to say though, big congrats to Sony here on their continued success with the PlayStation brand. 46%, that is quite impressive to say the least. Another big part of this though was game services. They did specifically point out that game services such as Xbox Game Pass has helped increase the spending within the game industry. They did note that console services increased to 19%, which was previously 15% the year before, so that is a nice little increase right there, and I think that it speaks volumes that in the same time that subscriptions grow, we're also seeing more spending within the community as a whole. I mean, this kind of lines up with some of the things that Microsoft has been saying all along, and that Game Pass subscribers actually spend more money on games, and based off of what Ampere Analysis is showing here, it kind of lines up with that. Now, we'll have to see if this trend continues on next year and the year after, but based off of Ampere Analysis, though, it does seem like that they expect both of those to increase in 2022 as well. Again, though, it's just so nice to see that the game industry is in such a healthy spot right now. With all of the big three having some success, I think we're really in for a special generation of games. I think the coming years is going to be a lot of fun for gamers as a whole. Let's go and take a look at the poll of the day, though. So, over the weekend, they did announce Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which is taking the mainline entries for the Pokemon franchise into a new direction. For the first time, this is a fully open-world game. Now, we saw a little bit of this with Pokemon Legends Arceus, but with this being the mainline entries, there are certain expectations, especially for such a historied franchise such as Pokemon. So, I wanted to ask you all, do you like that the mainline Pokemon games are changing things up by making them open-world? And yeah, you all seem absolutely on board with this idea, with 74% of you saying yes, while only 15% of you said no. So yeah, it does look like most of you all are ready for the Pokemon franchise to kind of evolve, more or less. It doesn't mean everything needs to change, but I think with Pokemon Legends Arceus, we're kind of seeing the potential of what this could mean for the Pokemon franchise. That game was pretty much universally praised from fans, and for a lot of people, they view it as one of the best Pokemon entries in years and years. Even for myself, which I said several times on this channel, I was optimistically cautious about that game. I myself really enjoy the traditional formula, so I was not sold on this idea, and I needed to see from them first that they could actually pull it off. And after playing Pokemon Legends Arceus, they absolutely won me over. As a longtime Pokemon fan that's been playing since the very beginning and loving that traditional formula, it really surprised me in just how much I enjoyed Pokemon Legends Arceus. It really was a breath of fresh air though, and now that I've played it, I can see just how much potential a Pokemon game like this has. It's not just potential though, because I mean, I already think that Legends Arceus is a great game, but at the same time, I want to see how they implement some of these ideas into more of the mainline entries. And for that, I'm really excited to see them reveal more about these games going forward and just all the changes that will come included with Scarlet and Violet. Either way though, I mean, for Pokemon fans out there, it is just an incredibly exciting time. I mean, if you think about it, in a span of 12 months, you're getting Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, you're also getting Legends Arceus, and now Scarlet and Violet. I mean, even last year we got new Pokemon Snap, so for Pokemon fans, you are living the dream right now. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to hit the notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.